What's poppin'? It's your fly gal, Just Bree, coming at you with another episode. And I got a special guest. Not only is he my friend, but he is a renowned DJ, especially to me. And I have to say he's definitely in my top 5 DJs of all time. He helped me understand what I want to be as a DJ. And of course, he has so many accolades under his belt, I can't even get through it in this one introduction. I'm talking about my friend Breezy.
Yay! Thank you. I feel like
I need applause at the end.
I feel like I got a Shannon Sharp intro right there.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. It's so funny. We were talking about that off air, but we'll get more into that. Breezy, how are you?
I'm beautiful. How are you, Bree?
You know what? I get excited when I get to have a friend on because now we don't have to just stick to the questions, right?
True.
In a sense, like we can go into some of our history and all that good stuff. So before we get into our history, let's talk about you starting off as Mr. Breezy. How did you get here?
Ooh, you want the long story short? Or what do you...
try to keep it short, but give me the meat and bones.
Long story short, I got into it because of my family.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was always a very musical person, maybe too musical. Growing up Latino, a lot of noise around the house when it be cleaning, a lot of drums, a lot of tambourines, things of that matter. So very lively, always have friends over, and my mom would always put me in charge of taking care of the music. She'd be like, could you play this for me? Could you play that for me? And I'd just be on the stereo like...
Bumping it.
And after a while, it just became, my family, we had some musicians in the family, and they would try to rap, they would try to do those things. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to start throwing some house parties. And that's what we did. We started throwing house parties at a really young age, like probably like 13 or something like that.
That's insane.
And we made a lot of money, surprisingly. I think my mom encouraged me more than I encouraged myself after that.
She was like, bring this money in.
She was like, hold on, we just made from a house party, she was like, maybe, this is a thing.
$200-$300,
True, I picked up a laptop. I was in high school with a laptop. That thing didn't leave my side. I started designing on there. I started DJing on there. And eventually house parties became quinceañeras, became sweet 16s, became homecomings, became small music shows, and then small music shows became artists, opening up for people, hopping on air, being on V100, thankfully. Shout outs to them. And meeting a lot of beautiful people that just along the road gave me opportunities based on what they saw in me. So I was very thankful for that. So, that's a long story short. I would say how I got here just well. And meeting you, too.
Right.
That was a beautiful moment, too, as well, meeting you.
I remember meeting you for the first time when we were at V100. And it was a good time. Like, I met a lot of people that way, especially DJs. So seeing what y'all did, and all of y'all pushed me towards it. Y'all threw me in a fire. You remember y'all
in a volcano.
Oh my God. So before Blush was Blush, it was Dick's.
Yeah.
And it's no longer open now. Those are some days.
The days.
Those are so fun for me though. But yeah, one day y'all was like, no, come to Blush and just play. And I was like, I'm not ready. Y'all said, no, just kind of blush and play. And you were in on that too with New Styles, who really taught me how to DJ.
Yeah, shout out to New Styles. Love New Styles.
That's my bestie right there. I got to have him on next. He just be procrastinating.
Definitely.
He procrastinates.
Yeah, he definitely, but he gets it done. When he gets it done.
He gets it done.
Which camera am I looking at? This one right here? He gets it done. Okay, nobody can do it like him. In my personal, there's a sidebar. He's the best DJ in the whole state to me. But that's to me. I'm sorry to everybody else, but I love him to death, though. Sidebar on that one.
He is, I can't say anything else because he's the one that taught me. He's the best DJ I know.
But
I say that against anybody. I always get him into a little, spats. I'll be like, I'll DJ you. I'll be trying to beef it up so that we could do set by sets, He
be doing back of the stuff. Going,
it's insane.
With his nose.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you doing?
He come from that B-boy area for real.
He really does. It's a whole different era of that. But back to what you said though, as far as throwing you in the fire, are you ever really ready? You know what I mean? I feel
who's
like
the interviewer here?
I know.
Of course I wasn't ready. I was so and are you ever really ready? No, you can't be ready for growth. But I really did appreciate y'all for bringing me in and loving me. And the Milwaukee DJ scene is like no other. And I think that if we had more places to really express that it'd be even better. You know what I mean?
Correct.
But before we get to that conversation, how did you get to DJ Breezy? How did you get to that name in particular? Because I know your real name, so I'm like, Breezy? Like, how did we get here? You know?
It's funny because I feel like my real name is such a conventional name, like Christian. Like I always thought that it was kind of like, oh, this is a cool name, and then I was like meeting people, and they're like, hi, my name's Christian. I'll be like, my name's Christian, and then I meet somebody else and be like, my name's Christian. I'll be like, oh my goodness. I'll be like, dang. I never really had a nickname like that. That's what's wild about it. Like ever since I was young, I used to see my cousins have nicknames. See my friends have super cool nicknames. I was like, man, I want a nickname one day. And very like kind of corny story how it came about. So in middle school, that's when I really started like dressing and getting into like my style and like who I was.
Oh, you so lucky. I didn't get into that until college, and not even the first year of college. It was like very late. Club.
It takes time.
Club time.
It takes time. Like there's like definitely like evolutional like moments where it's like, oh, why did I dress like that? And then you dress better and your style sense gets better. So around that time is when like I kind of started honing in on like who I was as far as that sense. And at first they called me Cool Kid Chris.
Ooh, that's kind of cute. Cool Kid Chris.
She's gassing me. That's
Cool Kid. That's a tongue twister.
Is it right?
It's long.
So they call me that. I always used to dance. I mean, I guess as far as like a DJ, like El Boogie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
shout out to El Boogie.
Shout out to El Boogie.
Best at that.
Super live. And I always used to dance like back in the day before I would even DJ. And so obviously my name's Chris. They would be like, Chris Breezy, this, that. I'd be like, oh my goodness. And this was like the height of Chris Brown when he came like, young boy just turns it like that. Like I'm like, I thought I was like Chris Brown for real.
16 and
a. Oh my God. He was like, what was it?
Out here just crunking.
Yeah, for no reason. I'm like, man, that's crazy. That was an era, first of all. And just eventually I started DJing, and then Cool Kid Chris became DJ Chris Breezy. And then after a while, somebody just kind of came out. They were like, man, your mixes are kind of smooth, yada this, yada that, like something, DJ Breezy. And just cut it down. I didn't like it at first.
Really?
And then it actually stuck. And now people have forgotten my real name.
You know what? Every time somebody say, oh, like your real name to me, I'm like, stop that. Yeah. Stop that. I don't know him like that. And then when I first figured it out, I was like, who is that?
Who is that? Yeah, people
He was like, you don't know Chris? I see you with Chris all the time. I'm like, who is Chris? I don't know that.
Who is this man? I don't know this man. From Kiki Palmer, I don't know this man.
I don't know this man. I don't want to talk about that. I don't have no idea. What are you talking
Seriously.
about?
I think it's funny though. Breezy.
I'm telling you, see, I got another side idea on that, but I'll tell you off air. You know what I mean?
Podcast coming soon. Oh,
But so you got your name, you got your start through your family and house parties. How did you start to become the Breezy that we know now, right? In a sense, like, what was your kind of mama I made it moment?
Ooh. That moment, I feel like people who have different definitions of like when that moment is. Obviously, there are different moments that let you know that you've kind of graduated to a different level. But I feel like the first moment, and not to go back on this, was being on air, was being on radio. I remember being in middle school, like, first of all, I was great in school, sidebar. I was great in school until like about middle school. The social factor kicked in and I was like...
That's all kids.
Yeah. So like that, like 6th, 7th grade for me, like that was a very pivotal year as far as like getting like new friend groups and things like that. And I remember having like this MP3 player and hopping on the bus and listening to Reggie Brown all the time. Like, and that was something that to me, that was like the height of the era, like the early 2000s, where it's like you were listening to like Plies. That would be like, shawty, like,
bust it, baby.
Baby. And that was something that to me was like, the T-Pain era, like buy you a drink, all that type of stuff. So that was like, I would say for me personally, the height of the club era, which was funny because I was still in middle school.
Right.
But I would get on the bus. And that was the only way that I could like listen to like music and mixes. And I'd be on the bus just like by myself and I'd be listening to my headphones in, day out, bus stop, off. I'd go home. And that was like my source of entertainment. So, flash forward years later, getting an opportunity to be on air and meet these people and work with these people. And I remember the first day that I found out, funny enough, with White Knight. Shout outs to DJ White Knight. And it was at a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Really?
With DJ O.
Yeah.
Yeah, the O called us one day. He was like, yeah, I need to meet up with you guys. I got to tell you something. And I was like, all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Where we meet now? He was like, Buffalo Wild Wings. I was like,
he always know where to go.
Yeah, he does.
He gonna tell you where to go, and I love that because I'd be like, okay, and I'm like, this is perfect.
It was perfect, and we pulled up, and it was me, him, and White Knight, and he just handed us these 2 slips of paper, and basically it was a schedule on. He was like, you guys are going to be on air.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was such an amazing thing, first of all, for him to do. I've always looked up to somebody like DJ O because,
his track record. He also helped
crazy.
me too. He helped me become a better performer.
Yes.
He helped me become a better host. Like whereas New Styles taught me how to DJ O taught me how to be a personality. He taught me how to be
Correct.
on radio, literally. Sat with me for hours in the studio.
So talented,
yeah.
so talented. And
Working with him was the best.
And him being so humble in the way that he was, and him providing us this opportunity, he kind of put together a mix show that, gave opportunities to young DJs to really hop on air and have a platform to express themselves like
it
that.
made Saturday lit.
Crazy. I used to
for
look
the radio.
forward.
Like,
I was like, I was looking forward to those.
people used to, like, he allowed me when I first came in or whatnot to help him produce for those days. And I saw a different side of radio from just a weekday 9 to 5. But I saw a different side of how fun radio can be and not how it was strict. Don't get me wrong. We had to play things certain ways and certain times and things. But it was so fun in a way that he was able to create it and do it. And always great at that. Like cosmically great at creating new ways to do things. So I can only imagine how that felt for you to be brought into a team like that and how fun it must have been and how like fulfilling it must have felt to do something that you love and have it be on a radio station that you looked up to as a kid.
No, it was. And I remember going home and telling my mom about it.
Yeah.
And I hadn't previously mentioned anything to my mom. Like before this, I had been like I've been doing events slowly, gearing up towards like cool concerts, but it was mainly like, Sweet 16s and like private events like that. And I was really trying to break into the club scene. And that was like the first opportunity that I really like got like that. I remember telling her and she like looked at me. And I rarely get these moments from my mom because it's like, single mom, raised 3 boys. I'm the oldest of 3 boys. Like she's always been kind of tough in that sense. Like she's always had to set the example like that. But she looked at me and she was like, this is what you want to do. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it just kind of resonated from that moment. And she supported me a lot throughout that way. But that was the first moment that I would say I had that I was like,
my mom made it. Yeah. And that's so funny because that's such a local thing, right? I remember listening same way, right? In a sense, I remember listening to mindless behavior and stuff on the radio. Come on, don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Mindless behavior was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was listening to mindless behavior, and I remember like, Mom, you gotta call in like to see what I because I need to get these tickets. I didn't win. I never won. Right?
No, never.
So then when time passed and I was 18, I was young. I mean, 18, like turning 18. On my birthday, the first Friday, I was gonna go to the radio station and never left. I always tell people that when they said that you could come in to see how everything worked, from there I was like, I'll volunteer. You know what I mean? And I tell this story all the time, but I volunteered for like 9 months, whatever. And then I finally got the job as a producer and whatnot. But I mean, I was going to quit. I literally worked 3 jobs and volunteered. So I was going to quit all the jobs, even if they didn't want me. I was going to go and volunteer full time because my parents had my back and they were like, that's more important than these little mall jobs that you work in. And I was like, I think you're right. I'd rather quit and be bumming it and slumming it and just be there, though. Because that's what I really, really wanted to do intensely and so bad. So when I heard myself on the radio for the first time, and I'm like, this is what I listened to growing up? Are you serious right now?
So let your people know.
Right? Are you serious right now? And I remember calling around to everybody like, I'm going to be on the radio. I'm going to be on the radio. And it's funny because even now, those same people, like my family and my friends who've been with me since the beginning, they still get excited. They be like, oh my God, I heard you today, girl. Oh my God, I heard you. So then when they started seeing me on the Bucks and on TV, they like, oh my God.
Big Time.
Right? Oh my God. And it's funny because they actually say that in a sense like, Miss Big Time.
Congratulations.
Like, you know what I mean? Congratulations.
On the Buck stuff, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Like that was, to me,
appreciate
I was like, this is overdue.
Right.
Oh, that's me personally. I was like,
wow, like they want a girl for real.
no,
You know
definitely.
what I mean?
And you being that girl, first of all, because I feel like that's definitely a role that's like representation wise, like especially given our market and the size of our market opportunity wise, like having somebody as talented as you being able to like break that barrier and do that.
Me cry.
And also too, having parents and having a support system that kind of see you wanting that as your dream and being like, no, this is more important, and kind of propelling you to that point, because in reality, that's all you really have.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's funny because I never thought, right? And I think that we can understand that as entertainers in a sense, like there's certain things that you may have thought like wasn't in your POV. And I'm going to be honest, like that was career the next step, but it wasn't in my POV. It found me. And that makes it even more natural. That makes it even more fun to understand and like get to know pieces of yourself, as difficult and as hard as it may be at times. But it felt good. And I want to know, like, what was something in your world that you were like, I never expected to do something like this, but it's here and it's for me. I kind of think that it may be touring, but you let me know.
I feel like, and before I get into that, right, I feel like there are moments when you're an artist, when you're a creative, there are moments that are kind of full circle when you follow your path, right? And this might sound a little superstitious or anything that matter, but like there's been moments where I've had full circle times where I've been like, I'll hear a song probably like 5-6 years back, and I'll have a thought, like, right, I'll be like, okay, man, it'd be cool if I got to do this. It'd be cool if I got to do that. And I'll have these dreams.
Yeah, like small manifest moments.
Exactly.
Like, yes.
And then years later, like, I'll find myself in that moment, and that same song will come on. Or I'll have a sign, and I'll look, and I'll be like, wow, like...
real life tears.
This is, this was supposed to happen. But you know what? I would agree with you. That was touring for me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Don't just say it, because
no, that was
I kind of thought, because we had a previous conversation at your crib that you used to stay above that one place.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Great
that was
house,
really
by
nice.
the way. Beautiful loft.
Beautiful loft.
Shout outs to them. They gentrified it now.
Really?
But back then it was so much fun.
I mean, yes, y'all used to go live and you let me come over. You sold me some AirPods.
That was great. That was great. Oh, yeah, the AirPods.
You remember the AirPods? I lost them.
I did not sell any illegal AirPods. I don't know what you're talking about.
They were your own possessions, you know? You bought them and you sold them to me. You know, it was what it was. Anyway, but... no, I remember being up there and like we had that small conversation about like that touring was something new, not new, but it was like, oh, you had done it. You went on tour with, I'll let you say it actually.
Yeah, no, so I had the opportunity to go on my first tour with Ishtar. Shout outs to Ish, extremely talented, staple in our city. And I remember getting that kind of phone call. What's funny about it, actually, I've actually never told this story. There were about 3 other DJs that got the call before me, right? And I feel like you were talking about earlier investing into your future, right? And how your parents and how your support system were basically like, yeah, you want to do these things, but this is the one thing that is gonna, that is your thing, that is you're trying to pursue. It's your path, and you're investing into your future in that sense. And they're supporting you through that. And I felt like this was one of those moments. I felt like the other people that were approached for this opportunity first kind of seen it as like a momentary financial gain. And I'm not gonna lie, the financial gain on the first tour, I'm gonna look dead in the camera. If you've ever been on tour, you know. So it wasn't promised in that sense.
Yeah.
But as an artist and as a creative, all you need is one shot.
Yeah.
And that was that shot for me. People had turned it down before, and we had been friends already for some time. Ish and I, we had been friends for years. I supported what he was doing, and I would see him rip shows, and I would always, as a DJ, sit back and think, man, like I could really help you out and you could help me out. Like we could really rock some shows and make something change and something crazy. And I accepted the opportunity. I was like, you know what? I'm down for it. I'm with it. And it was funny because it was like a really small like Sprinter van.
Yeah.
It was like but it was a Benz. Yeah. It was a nice Sprinter van. It was nice. But just imagine traveling on that van like cramped in.
Equipment.
Like, on the road, like day in, day out. But it was a moment that really hit me.
You wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Oh,
it could have
no.
been cramped. It could have been sweaty. It could have been hot.
Oh, no.
But couldn't imagine yourself anywhere else.
Nowhere else.
Yeah.
And I feel like that moment happened when we were in the middle of, I think it was Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was Dallas. I think it was our first show.
Yeah.
And it was in Dallas, and I forgot the exact name of the district. It was an art district in Dallas. And Poison Ivy pulled up. DJ Poison Ivy. Shout outs to DJ Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
And another big artist. I forgot what his name was at the time. But they pulled up. And I remember being in the green room with like all these artists and these DJs. And it was my first like stop on tour. I was like, I'm in a different city with people that I don't know. I got to hop on stage for the first time as a touring artist. I'm like, this is kind of wild. And that was like the moment where I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a full circle moment.
And guess who's calling me? We should answer
Get
it.
out of here.
New Styles, are you cutting your hair?
Yeah, what's the word?
New Styles, I'm doing an interview with DJ Breezy right now, and we literally just talked to you. Talked about you. So say what's up to everybody.
You in or you out for the day?
What you yes, I'm in. Yes. I'm finishing up
45 minutes.
45 minutes. Okay, I'm out.
For sure. No, I just want to know. I got to finish cutting my hair and shit, but I just want to make sure.
Okay, we're doing an interview. Just say hey to everybody.
What up?
What's the worsties?
I'm gonna get
bullshit.
You already know.
I'm gonna get you this clip where we talked about you being one of the best DJs
Ever.
For sure. Well, shit, I'll talk to y'all in a little bit then.
Sounds
All right,
good.
talk to you in a little bit.
Peace.
He's so stank.
He's
Anyway.
like, win or you out?
He's so serious.
Deal or
ain't
no deal? Like,
That's how he talks to me. I be like, yo, give me a second. Hey, in or out.
Yeah.
That's how he talks to me. He not friendly no more.
Yeah,
He used to be so nice to me.
I love that about Steve. Like, I feel like he's a person, like, he's been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
And he just continuously reinvents himself and takes new opportunities and new risks.
Yeah.
I feel like as an artist, that's so important.
He's going out to Chicago now to do Treat Yourself. He got booked out there.
Oh, yeah, that is today. Yeah.
Are you going? I might need
do
to.
Truth happy hour.
Yeah.
But I'll be free later on if they go on nighttime.
I think they will be going on nighttime.
Might be worth a trip to the Shy.
Right. If you go, this is kind of off air talk a little bit, but if you go, right. If you go, let me know and I like ride with you if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
Okay,
right.
just
I'll
call
let you
me.
know.
And then when does your happy hour end?
9.
9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh, day. Whatever.
We'll figure it
Chicago
out.
stay open later though.
It does to like 4 a.m.
That's insane.
Crazy to me.
It'll be a long night, but
crazy to me.
we used to it.
Wow.
But anyway, but touring being something new for you, and you remember being in that room of all these people and like, oh, I thought about this moment. How did that first show go?
Man, that first show was dead.
Really? Really?
Well, okay, because
when you be like,
no, because okay, so the thing about I didn't know this at the time, but the thing about like touring, the goal is to put together a show. And when you think about when artists perform, there's an artist that can perform without a DJ, and there's a DJ that can perform without an artist.
yep.
And then there are DJs and artists that perform together, but rarely is it ever a show. Like, you might have the DJ just play track 1, play track 2, play track 3, and it is what it is. And the artist performs over it. Usually they got vocals over their track, and then the show's over. Well, the show, right? But that first show was like the beginning of like the tour show. It was a smaller room, and we hadn't developed any chemistry or anything. The show was still smooth. It was still great.
Yeah.
But it was a smaller show. And eventually on every tour stop, they got bigger and bigger. And that's when the first tour, what it really taught me was developing a show and putting together a show to actually have an experience. But that full circle moment, how we spoke about, it felt crazy because I'm looking around and I'm like, here's DJ Poison Ivy, who now is
the Mavericks in-game host, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And DJ at one point, and if I'm not mistaken, Emmy Award winner, like
Yeah, I think so.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like she's great. And I'm looking at Ish. He's over here. He's had tours
He's
before.
growing, yeah.
He toured in London, things of that matter. And then the other artists that was there, and then other influencers as well. And I'm like, at the time I hadn't really put together my track record.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is the beginning for me, boss. And I was
Right.
looking, I was like, I really kind of do belong here.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, and that was a full circle moment. And that kind of made me realize, like, okay, I can push this, and I can grow from here. And I have something to contribute with these people, amazing people that are around me. And that was like the first moment for me that I was like, all right,
This is it for me.
I'm kind of addicted to it after this. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it was a great feeling.
When was the last time you worked a real 9-to-5 job where you just like do entertainment full out?
This is actually hilarious. I've only had one 9-to-5 job in
Really?
my life. Yeah. And that's not because like I'm too cool or anything like that. It was just kind of like I found DJing and designing and being creative and all that at a very young age. And I'm very thankful and blessed for that. I know for different people, your path it might come to you, you find it at a different age. But I had one job, and this was like, this was probably like, I started DJing around 13 years old. I had this job like, I want to say like 19.
Yeah.
I had already DJed for some years until this point, and then I realized like I had like this like down sweep where I was like, man, do I even want to DJ? Do I even want to do this?
Because you started making consistent money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I kind of took some time off for a little bit because I had to get some things in order. And I got hired at Chubby's Cheesesteaks.
Oh my!
Shout outs to Mazzy, to Murad. Shout outs to those guys, like the owners. They're amazing people. Gave me an opportunity. It was funny because they made me a manager, and I had never in my life managed anything.
Right.
And they made me a manager primarily because I could design.
Yeah.
So I was like designing menus. I was designing like flyers. I was designing for their other businesses. And I remember being in the back with my like laptop doing all this like nerdy work.
Yeah.
And then people were around me making milkshakes. And I was like, it's like, damn, I'm really not working like that.
Right.
And like,
because that's good. That's your passion. Like, I'm really, dang, I feel like I'm not going to work every day.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then they would put me, this was the East Side location. So then they put me in that little donut shop that they have like right there, the little drive-thru.
Oh.
Shout out. Those donuts are delicious.
Hey, I was just about to say, you got me having cravings now. Like, I might have to stop. I mean, we already on the East Side. I might as well stop before I go
5
home.
5 minutes away, boss. No, and it was funny because they would put me in that, and I used to just fry up donuts, and I lived like 2 blocks down, like on Farwell. So I would walk to Farwell when I was done at like 3 a.m, grease all on my shirt, not a DJ gig in sight, nothing. And I would think to myself, I'm like, is this like what I'm gonna do for the rest of my awesome like crusty
I'm gonna
crab?
be greased up, like, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to take bags of donuts home with me. Like, they would be this big, they'd be left over. So that was the only 9-to-5 that I ever held. And then after that, I got it together and I packed it up. And I was like,
yeah,
all right, I'm DJing.
I'm starting to think, like, I think that it's so funny how much money brings comfort. And then when you get comfortable, you're not willing to be uncomfortable in order to get to that next level. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And lately, I've just been thinking about more things of like, okay, should I move out? You know what I mean? Because how many, and I said this before, and God always guides me in a sense, but I said this before the Bucks thing. I was like, okay, I've worked for one of the hottest radio stations in Milwaukee. I'm here at another one that is very much developing as one of the new hottest radio stations.
Facts.
What other media opportunities are here? And I remember asking that, and then God was like, here, this is another one. But then I'm now like, oh, after this one, like, now what? You know what I mean? And Lord knows that he may guide me in whatever direction, but I've been thinking about moving and thinking about going to these other markets. But you have already started to DJ in different markets. So let's talk about that. How did that come about?
That primarily just came about going out and checking people out first and foremost. Like, I had a lot of DJs, a lot of performers that I was always fans of, like, first. And I was like, man, these guys are great.
Yeah.
And I would just go out to check them out. When they would come here into the city, I was too young to go into the nightclubs. I was like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I used to see them come down to like Dick's or come down to like different clubs, raves, stuff like that. And I just wasn't old enough to get into it. And these were some of my like favorite DJs, artists, performers, whatever it may be. And then I was like, all right, when I got of age, I would see them in Chicago.
Yeah.
Or I'd see them in the different places, and I would just go check them out first.
I can't believe you couldn't get in a club and stuff, because I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, at 17, 18, I was in a club. Like,
see, but like,
but it's different for girls. I get it.
you had the motion. No, like for me,
No, for real. I was on the radio, so I used to be like,
had the
hey.
motion.
And then I remember girls using my name to get in the clubs. They would be like, we already got a Just Bree in here. I was like,
what?
I used to be like,
what?
did I just come in here?
See, no, definitely like, and I feel like for you, like being short is cute. For me, being short is like, who is this dude? Like, I remember pulling up to like my first DJ gig, and the security guard like looked at me. He was like, you the DJ for the night? And they all started ripping me. I was like, oh, this is terrible. Like, it's terrible.
Heartbreaking.
No, and I couldn't get in. So like, I would have to go to like other markets and stuff like that. And then eventually I became of age, but I would check out a lot of these like amazing DJs out of town, which would be DJ Gordo from Chicago, DJ Metro from Chicago, guys like that, and DJ Craze, and with no agenda. Like, honestly, no agenda, because I was so locked into what I was trying to do and grow within myself that the only agenda that I had was supporting these people and kind of seeing what they were doing differently and what they were doing just period that was really... They were really talented, first of all. Like, they could shut whole rooms down, and even performers, and noticing the cues that they would do, their timing, how they would read music, how they'd interact with the crowd. So that was my agenda, first of all. And eventually that bubbled over into me kind of becoming a familiar face and them recognizing me as an artist as well. So I just started putting myself in the right rooms, pretty much.
Right.
And that's something that I had the opportunity to learn from fellow colleagues and peers that were in radio and things of that matter. They would always have these conversations about artists, and artists were always coming in and out
of the city.
Of the city, yeah.
Even now, like even more so with Pfizer Forum.
Way more now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, way more now. Like, I think back then, like, we would have like Migos come in and out. This was like during 618 days. So like that tandem of working at 618 for a really long time and being at V100, like Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, like coming into the lounge, doing interviews, things like that.
Yeah.
I was already kind of gearing that way and looking at ways that I could put myself into these communities and contribute, really. And that's kind of how it just became about. So now it's kind of come full circle as I've kind of matured, or as I've kind of had more experience as an artist. I'm starting to be recognized in that way. So I'm very thankful for that. Shout outs to them. And they've given me opportunities that I've been able to capitalize on and, acquire more opportunities. How you were saying, like, as far as how you look at opportunities here, like, what's next after this?
Yeah.
What's next after this?
I used to feel so guilty for that mentality, because I used to be like, okay, I just need to focus on this right now. But then it's like, I literally saw like friends, and these particular friends may not be friends anymore, but I literally would see them invest in one thing. And I used to get scared of that, because when shit would fall apart, it was hard for them to bounce back from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I started to tell myself that even now, like, it's not bad to say, well, what's next after this?
Yeah.
Does not mean that you're not focused.
Correct.
It just means that you're manifesting what's next. And I was just about to say, maybe off air, you could talk to me about just putting yourself in certain rooms and situations.
Yeah.
I think that I was not, I don't want to say pampered or spoiled, because I worked for everything. I mean, you saw me messing up live in clubs and music cutting off.
We all do. It happens.
I was terrible. You know what I mean? So you saw me work for it to at least be
Out
a
the
DJ that
mud,
can blend and mix to the point where people can rock out in this club, but not know that I'm still in that beginner stages or just this beginning to be intermediate stages or whatever. But you saw me do that, right? So I'm not saying that I was, when I say was spoiled and pampered, in a sense, I'm saying that I was able to get into those rooms early on naturally from, benefiting off of where I worked instead of off my name.
Yeah.
And then at some point it became off my name.
Yeah.
But I want to get into different rooms. And that's funny, because when you told me that last year was your first year at Summerfest, that's a funny thing for me, because I'm like, I could have sworn like you have been doing this, and for how long you have and how long you've been DJ Breezy, not DJ Breezy who's doing quinceañeras or just from the start or whatever.
Yeah.
No, how long you've been DJ Breezy, that last year was your first year doing Summerfest. How did that come about, and how did that make you feel to be able to be on a stage like that?
That came about So, firstly, I'd like to say the reason probably why I wasn't there before, Summerfest, in essence, isn't it the biggest music festival in the world, right?
I believe
Size-wise.
if it's not the biggest, it's up there. Number one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know
Yeah.
that we always say, every company is going to say the best, the biggest, or whatnot. But I really do feel like we're one of the biggest festivals.
Yeah.
I've been to Lollapalooza. I've been to all these different places. It's never like Summerfest. I remember going to Lollapalooza and was like, what is all this mud? Like, this ain't me. Like,
Like literally,
you know
what
what I
is
mean?
going on?
Like, we go to Summerfest, we on nice concrete. We can go in the sky, do the little thing. You know what I mean? Amphitheater. We got some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some wild stuff.
But y'all out here in the mud? Oh,
Yeah,
no, baby.
Like, you guys, what was that? Like Burning Man or something like that?
Oh,
they were out there
God.
like caked in mud, like
going crazy.
going like this.
Right.
Like, I
It
don't
felt
know
a
what
little codish, out
like,
there.
What you guys doing over there? Like, no, I need some structure. But I feel like, okay, so what I've sort of learned now being in this industry for a good amount of time, there's a lot of opportunities that will come to you, right? And there's a lot of opportunities that you have to chase down. Because sometimes we feel as creatives or as artists, whatever it may be, performers, that, if I'm doing X, Y, and Z and I'm attracting attention from, these different things, these venues or these type of people will notice and they'll reach out to me for opportunities or things of that matter. And that's not really like entitlement. To a certain level it is actually.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's something that you don't know young because you're barely starting off and you don't know that you need an EPK, you need your electronic press kit, you need your press photos, you need your bio.
I think I need to get you to do that for me. Like, I know you still do. First off, Breezy still does graphic design. He's one of the best out here. If some of these flyers that you see out here for these clubs and stuff, and all of the ones that are for him himself, like when he's out at Truth and stuff, those are all his own designs. Just saying, go check out his Instagram at DJ Breezy because they're all up there.
Thank you.
Just
Shameless
saying.
plug. Shameless plug. And and I'll definitely help you with that. Like that's something that I've helped other people do as well too, and I'm helping even myself do it.
Yeah.
And putting together an EPK that kind of speaks for you before you ever have to reach out for a phone call, before you ever have to reach out like in person, anything of that matter. And you have stage managers, you have entertainment directors, like you have different positions within
entertainment.
Within entertainment and within a brand that kind of it has to go through like higher ups and higher ups and higher ups and higher ups. And like when I was younger, that part of the game for me was something that I still didn't know. Like, yeah, you can know the right people, but kind of stepping in that sense and being professional in that sense and reaching out and hunting those opportunities down, that was something that I feel like eluded me for some time because I didn't reach out or I didn't know the right people at the time. Right. And it eventually became full circle. Like, it was funny because I think I seen like 3 or 4 of the stage managers last year. I was like, I know you guys. Like, I was like, I know you. And they all of them had different stages.
Yeah.
And I was like, why haven't we ever had this conversation before?
Right.
And it was just like, yeah, man, it's just we didn't really get a chance to like communicate on that level in the past years and know that was like the language to do so. It's a very like reserved like political thing, you know what I mean? Like
really?
You have to reach out, they have to, it's one of those
Some
things.
people don't know, like here in Milwaukee, it is a thing.
It's a
thing, and it's not because people don't value you or people don't care. It's because it's just a thing.
Yeah.
And we don't know where it started from or where it comes from, but at the same token, geez, like, is there a thing? Like, and even the reach out got to be great. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's my issue right now in a sense. Like, I think, like, I'm really great at typing up a great email. But like you said, sending over an EPK that takes over the page and that makes it look good and make it look nice. And it makes it almost impossible for this person not to reach out in a sense.
And they got to like you as a person.
They got to like you as a person when they meet you.
That's a big thing
First
here in
impressions.
Milwaukee. That's like a huge thing here in Milwaukee.
I could tell you some stories. Like, I could tell you some stories where people just kind of misinterpret things, and next thing you know, that was a thing for me. And nobody wants to to feel like they lost out on the opportunity because of personality or why is because you're a good person or whatever. But even if you're just somebody catch you in a moment where you're thinking really hard and your face look all screwed up,
like, oh my God, Bree doesn't like me.
Oh my God, Bree is rude. Oh my God, like
I don't like her attitude. Like what? Like I was literally just like thinking about what I'm gonna get for food tomorrow,
or just really thinking about the moment and looking at all this. Like I've been there, I've done that, and then of course I could say certain things like, black girl and what that stigma brings along because everybody thinks that you're just some type of angry black girl.
For no reason. It's like,
or I'm just sitting here. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Be smiling for no reason. Like what's the word? Like no, but it's a huge thing. And the thing is too, like we have a smaller market. Obviously, this market is expanding. It has expanded majorly. You look at places like Fiserv Forum, you look at the entertainment that we're bringing in these days, comedians, sports teams, the things that we're accomplishing.
Exactly.
This market has grown, and we've seen it from the beginning. But at the same time, it is very, very limited resource-wise as far as entertainment-wise goes. And people do business with the people that they like. Yeah. And that's just the reality of it.
Like, and that business will be done that way.
Exactly.
Forever.
Like you can be an amazing host. You can be an amazing journalist, an amazing DJ, an amazing photographer, an amazing videographer, whatever it may be.
But if people don't like you.
Yeah, you can't help if a person has a subjective opinion about you and your character based on what they've come to.
And that's this whole market.
Exactly. And if they come to that conclusion, it's not my responsibility to undo that for you because 9 out of 10 times you don't know me and I don't know you.
Right.
But the reality of it is somebody likes somebody better than you and they're in a position of power and you may be the more polished resume. You may be the more talented individual. You may work harder. The next person to
get it.
And that person will get it. And that's something that in show business.
Hurtful, in a sense, right?
Yeah. And that's something that in show business, it happens back to back to back to back to back.
And then don't be too nice. Now, if you're too nice, now you fake about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a fine line to walk in entertainment.
Literally.
And there have been times where I was like, man, do I even want to do this anymore? Because this is insane. Like, why is it that I can't, why is it I can't get over this hump? No, for real. I have thought about that and sat in myself, like, really hard. And I really, for a good amount of time, I thought it was me. And I was like, I had to step back and say, oh, wait.
No, definitely.
It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Just have everything to do with this particular opportunity and what it may be reading in this opportunity.
That's such an important moment, though.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad that you said that because when we get to kind of reflecting on ourselves and looking at ourselves like, is it me? Like, am I too much? Am I not enough? Am I, any one of these things? I feel like that's such a terrible thing, you know, because it's subjective. What people think about you is completely, what are you really?
Yeah.
Like I've been blackballed so many times and I'll say it here on an interview.
Yeah.
Like I've been in most times, 9 out of 10 times, it's because I've had something to say that I have a very strong view and opinion about, and not because it's me who feels it, but because I feel like it's the right thing.
Right.
So I understand being politically correct. I understand being, keeping your head down, working things that matter. But there's certain things that I can't go for, and there's certain things that I'll see as an artist and as a creative and that are unfair. And we were just talking about that Monique thing off air, where she was like, "I'm going to tell it."
And you know what? And to be fair, when it first all came down. And that's why Charlamagne God had to apologize, right?
Yeah, he was wrong. Oh, my Lord, he was wrong.
And when I stepped back and looked at that interview with Monique, I was like, yo, she is 130% right. Now, it's her ways and certain things and how she say it, whatever. But that's that Charleston White thing. You worried about the message. You worried about how I'm saying it versus the message.
Exactly. And that's what she said exactly. She was like, you're worried about who it's coming from and how it's being delivered, but you're not focusing on the message itself.
But everybody loved how Taraji did it, right?
Yeah.
Because Taraji was a black woman who was crying, who wasn't strong in, well, I don't want to say she was strong in what she was saying, but she was crying. She came off more empathizable, right? I don't even know if that's a word, but
it's a word now.
Right? But people were able to feel sympathy and empathy for her because of how that message came off. But she said nothing different than what Monique said nearly almost 10 years ago. And I had to think back to that time. I was like, wow, that was a long time ago.
And as great as that is, right? And not to interrupt you, but as great as that is, it's at the other side of the coin, it's kind of like, I'm not going to say sad, but it's kind of like, why do you have to come across as more vulnerable, more emotional in order to get the same type of response as a Black woman for your emotions and for your grievances or what people have done to you? Like, the message is the message.
One that was more recent for me, but I'll tell you about it off air. Because it'll connect. It'll connect that sense of like being a Black woman and what they want you to do and how they want you to come off in that sense, right? But Monique was right. She was like, I'm not going to get on here and cry. I can't do that. Like, that's not me. That wouldn't be me. It'll be fake tears because I don't want to do that. And then she kept saying they wanted her to go into rooms without her husband. They wanted her to go into rooms without her man. And I was like, that's why, and I keep telling the young girls that I work with, it's okay to have a guy around. It is okay for you to be in love. It is okay for you. Now, she calling him daddy all in public now. That's funny. That's a funny thing. But I'm a rocket scientist with it.
I'm like,
Daddy, do you love me?
Am I your baby?
Am I your baby? I would do that 110 times.
She was like, Daddy. She was like, am I your baby?
Am I your baby?
I'm like, hold on, what was that in the middle? Like, hold on.
She was just breathing. She had to get it together. She had to get it together, baby. I said, y'all think there's a problem with that? There's no problem with that.
There's no problem.
Did y'all not hear what she said? Do you like the Cubans? I love the Cubans. I love the Cubans.
There's no problem with that.
There's no problem. And they wanted Monique to go into rooms without this strong her strong Black man, because I can't say he is or isn't because I haven't met him, but they wanted her to go into rooms without him, and that was very telling. I've had somebody very influential tell me, don't tell your parents, right? Because I'm close to my parents. And my parents have been in the club with me to support me, right? They ain't got nothing to do with this music, but they on the dance floor getting it in. Ain't got nothing, don't even know nothing about it, right? But they having fun because they know I'm the one playing the music and they are there to support me. Yeah. But I had such a prominent person that was prominent in the beginning of my career tell me, don't tell your family about the things that's going on in this building. Don't tell them about the things that's going on in this industry because they won't understand.
Yeah.
I went back and told my parents that. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? They don't want me, and they were like, okay, let's now have this conversation, right? Because I was young and I was naive in a sense, like, I hear what they're saying to me, but I'm always going to check with my source. Like, that's it. And the source that I have is my main family, my immediate family. I have my mom and my dad in my life. You know what I mean? I see them every day. Whatever you tell me is not going to come before the love I have for them and the respect that I have for them, because they're never going to tell me anything wrong. And I remember that person telling me they will tell you something wrong because they're not in this industry. They've never been in this industry. No, you're trying to F me over. And that's why I wasn't able to get F'd over early on, because I had these two people, my mom and my dad, telling me, they running game. They want something. They may not be in the industry, but they knew exactly when that didn't sound right or when it wasn't right for me.
This doesn't and to piggyback off of that, right?
Yeah.
I feel like as Black artists, Latino artists,
of color,
whatever artists of color in general, right? There is like what we contribute to the culture in general, whether it be musically, artistically, whatever it may be. Like, it is very easy for you to get exploited when you don't know how systems work, when you don't know how pay structures work, when you don't even know how the general communications, right? Like, you as an artist, like as a beginning artist, might just be like naive in the sense of like, I love what I do, I'm trying to do what I do, and these people have whole agendas over exploiting your artistry. Right. And that's something that runs deep into many different industries, but specifically into the entertainment industry, right?
Right.
And that's something that you definitely have to consult with your support system, your family, whether that be your husband, whether that be your wife. And
friends,
it's kind of like
family,
abusive relationships, right? Like, people try to remove your support system from you and kind of get you on an island.
It's abusive. It's isolation. It's
like, no, what?
Right.
I'm charging triple now.
Right.
And it's crazy because I actually ended up finding out what other people charged in my same field years ago. I was like, let me put my calculator together.
Right.
We're going to have to raise this up about 45.
We have to. It does not make sense.
Doesn't make sense. So you're completely right on that. It could definitely happen to you. And seeing artists kind of, now that we're in the age of information, step up, like Cat Williams too, stepping up and being like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And we're doing this to prevent this from happening further to artists
to
or just people
else.
in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a very important thing. So shout outs to them.
Right. And speaking of horror stories, I want to hear about one of your horror stories as a DJ. Like, we're going to get, in honor of Valentine's Day,
Heavy
we
breath.
are going to get into, like, you know, some other nightmares.
Okay.
But I want to hear about the worst DJ set you have ever had to do.
Worst DJ set.
Mm-hmm.
It happens every month. No.
Happens so often.
Okay, so I feel like I've been DJing now since I was 13. So about don't be putting numbers together and guessing my age.
When I heard your real age one day, I was like, no. And I gotta say, I tell you this on the other end, but yeah, y'all be catfishing out here.
Okay,
Like I'm gonna tell you why y'all catfishing, for real. Guys be catfishing
and hat fishing. Not me though. I got a hairline. Y'all be safe. Y'all be safe. But no, so 17 years now. Luckily, thank God. But I feel like there are moments that are ever changing, right? So there are going to be positions that you're put in as an artist that either bring the worst out of you or the best out of you. Like there are positions, like I was in Tampa last week, and oh Lord, I'm about to say this on air. I was in Tampa last week, loved it, great time. Shout outs to all my Tampa people.
Yeah.
Shout outs.
Florida crazy though.
Great. There's a reason why Grand Theft Auto the new Grand Theft Auto is being there. So
Yeah.
but the opening DJ, very talented dude.
Yeah.
Went crazy. Like I'm talking about, like I was supposed to hop on at 12:30. He went on and played Finito. He played Babe by Skilla Baby. He played Dreams and Nightmares. He played First Day Out. He played. What didn't he play?
Okay, so pause right there. The reason why that's so big and so important is because when you know you're an opening DJ, what you're not supposed to do is play things that's going to be played at the height of the night. So if he is the main DJ and you're the opener DJ, what you need to do is play hits, but you need to play maybe last year older hits in a sense. Like, you might want to be, if he play Skilla Baby, like, oh, look. Okay, so.
There was more.
You might want to play City Girls, Get the Girls Ready.
Oh, he played that.
Oh
yeah, he played that. He played Act Up. He played like I'm telling you, if there was like a record to be like, all right, it's like somebody told him like, hey boss, you're dying in an hour. Play as many hits as
they
you
can. He did all of them.
Like for real. So you know
that's messed up. See,
crazy.
That gets you to have fights and not like people as DJs because you're like, yo, you just really messed up the main.
For real.
He did that. He did that for some reason.
All right. So I'm over here like. And when you say like worst moments, like I could think of one specifically that I'll get into, but I feel like they happen every so often. Because from that moment, they were like, all right, your turn. And I was like.
And he's coming on at 12 o'clock. That means the first song has to be a banger. The first song, it got to come with the elbow straight from the Raptors down onto the board. Like it got to be crazy.
Right off the backboard, windmill, behind my back joint. Like
so, I'm scared to ask this question. So, what you play?
So, glad you asked.
Yeah,
I went to Florida and I figured out that there's a subculture down there.
Okay.
Have you heard of Boss Man D-Lo?
Yeah. Yes, only recently.
Said, yep.
My kids, literally the kids that I work with, just introduced me to him maybe like end of last month.
Cold.
Really.
So cold. Like he's got like a solid 4 to 5 songs right now that are in rotation.
Yeah.
And I had done my research. I was like, before I even pulled up, I'm like, I seen the Bottle Girls. I seen the previous DJs that they had. They would use these songs to like kind of like promo. And I was like,
that's what you got to do
I'm
right
coming
there.
in with. So as soon as I dropped that joint, over.
And that's how you know. And that's how you know, because that first DJ had a vendetta in a sense, like maybe the vendetta with himself, the bar, the club, or whatever.
He think he cold.
He think he cold. He think he know.
He think you cold.
And he came through with his best. And you know what? That's DJ culture, because you don't gotta hate nobody for that.
Yeah.
But now you got a vendetta too. You like, okay. You're like, all right. You didn't make this easy for me. I like that. Okay, cool. But you did your history, your research, and that's what it's about, being an open format DJ, right? Because you could be a hip hop DJ, you could be a country DJ, but being an open format DJ means that you have to come even harder.
Yeah.
Because you never know what you were walking into. And he thought that he killed it.
Exactly.
He thought he had the night.
Exactly.
And then you came with your research like, nah.
You got people flying you out. You got people paying your hotels. You got people putting you on flyers. You got people being like, yo, this is like on snaps. They're over here like, this is the coldest DJ ever. And then you show up to the spot and you're like, I really got to deliver on that promise.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be anything short of that.
Yeah, you Himothy. Like, you Himothy now.
I'm Himothy. Him Duncan.
Right, him Duncan.
Like, what is the word? So, like, and for me, I'm like, all right. So I feel like worst moment, that happens like week in, week out. They could break you, like they can make you and they could break you. Obviously, I've had like one worst moment that like stands out in my head. And it was a moment where the DJ before me, and he was kind of like drunk. And this was like a year ago. He was kind of drunk.
Look how fast they come though.
Yeah, like what? Like, and he let the song end. And it was like about 1,000 people in front of me. Let the song end. Wow. And I haven't even come to set up yet. Like, I was supposed to set up while you play music and then switch over, and he just...
Natural DJ culture, you know that. If I don't see the DJ who's going on next up here already, and we already made the A-B transition, right? You know, if you got a board, you know what that is, right? You switching over one side, and then the next side to come over after you ready, right?
Facts.
That's DJ culture, right? You should know that. Never at some point, hey, you ready? No, I'm not ready. All right, I'm about to play this next one. And then you typically tell that person what you're going to play so they don't come in with it.
Like, hey,
just as a courtesy.
Exactly, courtesy. Like, you could even go a step further and be like, hey, is there a certain BPM that you want me to leave off on? Like, that you want to come into? Like, you as a DJ, Bree, you might be like, okay, well, we're at 90 right now. I want to go down to 70. Like, I want to play Handsome and Wealthy. Or you might be like, okay, I'm at Handsome and Wealthy. Can you get me up to 90 so that I could play, you know, what...
Peaches.
Big Money.
That's the one that I know. Yeah.
I said Big Money. You said Peaches.
Peaches. Yeah. That's like a 90 BPM.
That is.
You got
a
big.
You're spot on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and that's just like a step further, having respect for your fellow performer.
Yeah.
But that was a terrible moment. I went up there. I was like, it was dead silent. I was like, I can't even intro.
Right. Now what?
I played the song immediately. I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna figure my intro out. So yeah.
Right.
Worst moments. What's your worst moment as a DJ?
Well, you know what my worst moment is. I called every DJ friend I possibly could. I was like, y'all. I can't, my nerves was bad. Like, I was like, yo, help me. What do I do? My worst moment. Stop laughing because you know what it is.
Yeah, okay.
Stop laughing. My worst moment as a DJ was my first ever wedding.
That's why I don't do weddings. Side note, but continue.
No, say it. Breezy don't do weddings.
I don't do weddings.
Never have.
Never have. I haven't done one wedding, and primarily because I believe people are very intense at a moment that serious for the rest of their lives. I don't want to take that heat. I might in the future. You better than me. You
never said this to me. Keep in mind, he's my friend. Never said it to me, ever. As I told him, hey, I'm doing my first wedding.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
How'd that go?
Okay. So... I had this wedding. They literally like invited me to their nice big house, right? And we sat down. We talked about it. I remember DJ O, who does weddings, he was like, get a form. What songs do they want for what? When bridesmaids come in with da-da-da. Make up your own form about the particular songs that you want, right? And I made up this form. We filled it out. I made sure I was ready. I had those songs in a crate all of itself. If you don't know DJing, you have a crate. I made those songs an individual crate for that individual wedding.
Preparation was on point.
I prepared for this. I knew I had Jodeci on deck. I had everything that you can imagine. I had all the love songs.
I'm ready
I had
for
all
this to go the distance. I got Jodeci.
I had new songs. I had young songs. I had Baby Shark do. Okay, because the babies want to get on the floor too. Because you gotta play to every.
You do
that. You have to play to every generation. That's what open format DJing is about. I was ready, and it was at the Fister. I get
extra
there.
Fancy with it.
Extra fancy.
Yeah, pressure's on.
Super, right? Because now you're playing also for the staff there, because the staff can hire you. The event manager can hire you.
Right, God forbid anything go wrong.
Anything. I had my equipment. I rented equipment. I was good. I get to the Fister. My dad and my brother helped me set up. We good. We nice. We looking good. My dad had to go get one more piece because he was like, the speaker not really doing what we need to do. So he was like, I'm going to run down the street real quick, grab this, and come back, right? Great. So I'm like, all right, everything pretty much set up. I'm going to go take pictures. It's the Fister. I'm like, all right.
I'm going to go flick it up.
Flick it up. And downstairs, they got these big flowers, like, and this was an older couple. They were like in their late 50s or something like that, mid to late 50s. So they had money to do up like this. So there's flower bouquets everywhere. And they were getting married downstairs, and they were just going to come up for the reception. Great. Sounds good. Sounds amazing. They had a band in there. Violinists. Like, it was nice.
Wait. Back up. They had a violinist?
A violinist.
Okay, the pressure was on. See, this is...
Super on.
I'm going to look at it. This is why I don't do weddings. If you have a violinist,
yeah,
it's like DJs are great,
yeah.
but we're not violinists.
We're not out here struggling.
Like the emotion of like one string will give you, it's like, oh my God.
Right.
Like...
And I remember walking in and seeing them. I was so emotional. I was so like, oh my God, this is so nice. Like, I can't wait to have a wedding and da-da-da. So we flicking it up. And I see people like kind of walking out and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, okay, it's okay. It's fine. It's all right. Like, you know, people go in and out of weddings. But then I'm seeing more people walk out.
More people walk out.
So we done flicking it up and I go back upstairs. Now I'm seeing people take gifts and walking out. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's happening here? Yo, the event manager said, everybody come in here, staff and everything, you know. He like, DJ, please stay and whatnot. He closed all the doors. He's like, the groom didn't show up. Oh, Jesus. He like, the groom didn't show up. I was like, huh?
Can we get a laugh track on that?
And my dad came back. My brother is still there. I was like,
what?
And they were like, what to do, right?
What?
He like, the groom didn't show up, but there was still going to be a reception. I said,
what?
What am I going to do?
What music do you play? To the left, to the left.
Everything you own, to the box, to the left.
What do you play at that point? Separated by a vine?
So everybody, her side comes up, right? His side came up, got their gifts and left.
Oh.
His side didn't even, and then it started to have like little arguments like, oh he didn't like, blah, 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 da, da, da. Anyway, bitch, da, 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 bitch, I don't care, blah, blah, da. And they get him up out of there. They pack him up and get him out. Food is still being served and stuff. Lord, she come up there in one of the most beautiful wedding dresses I've ever seen.
No.
Long train, long.
Oh, no.
She was just trying not to cry. All night I was like, what? So.
Did you play something to make her smile?
She said, can you play A Rose is Still a Rose by Aretha Franklin?
Oh, you're going to make me cry on this interview right now.
I was like,
so
of course I can. And I played that.
You said $100 per request.
So what I did was, listen.
Oh, no.
Listen. So what I did, I said, any requests? It's open. Because I need some ideas.
I need the help right now.
Because there's nothing that I could play.
Need it. Somebody
came up and said, play Jaheim, put that woman first.
Oh.
And guess what I did?
A bop.
I put it on.
You put that woman first.
Cried. She said, oh. I said, that was dumb. I was like, wow. It was so, that was the worst story ever.
She needed to let that out, though.
I would have rather the computer stop.
Wow.
I would have rather anything happen. I would have rather anything else to happen.
Wow.
But the groom not showing up and to be highly prepared, it was heartbreaking. I got drunk. On Pinot Grigio.
I was waiting for you to tell me that. I was literally waiting for you to tell me that.
They were passing out bottles because they bought everything's paid for. Food is paid for. What? The pictures is paid for. The photographer was like, I'm not taking no pictures. The photographer was like, I'm done. The photographer had his daughter there because he wanted his daughter to assist him, but also see a wedding, right?
I mean, this was the wrong wedding to bring her to. I'd have been like,
we ate good food. It was horrible. We ate good food, and I got drunk. I was 2 bottles of Pinot Grigio in.
Like, take the Pinot and just bring the Hennessy, please.
Right.
Just, at this point, I don't care. Just some cognac. Just anything that is going to get me off my rocker within 30 minutes.
Man, I walked out the building with a bottle of Pinot, the 3rd bottle of Pinot, and their glass.
So how has that changed your view on weddings moving forward? Because you know my view on weddings, obviously. So
I never did another wedding. And I got offered so many weddings, and I never did it.
See,
ever.
and
again,
I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that is my fear.
Yeah.
But something around that neighborhood, right? Like people are like very particular. Like, okay, this is a day that you're gonna remember for the rest of your life.
Right.
Anything that goes wrong,
yeah,
it's kind of the worst day for it to go wrong. Like, you're gonna remember
the worst day of your life.
Average like Wednesday, like it's gonna go. So I just don't want to be responsible over that
yet.
Yet.
Because you might, right?
Yeah.
But y'all, like, it's kind of hard because when I think about my wedding, I'm like, oh, New Style's got to do my wedding, but he also got to kind of be in my wedding. So I don't know. And then you, and then it's like y'all are guests at my wedding. So how we gonna do this?
Yeah.
But now that we talked about that horror story, I want to get into another one. In honor of Valentine's Day.
I'm walking out.
No.
This is it for me.
No. Just don't say no names, right? Don't say no names. But what was And on our
It was
Valentine's
Maria.
Day.
Oh, no, I'm just playing. No,
Did you see how big my eyes got?
I said no, not no Maria.
I was gonna be like, shout out to Maria.
I don't know no
dude.
Maria. Well, I do know some Marias, but I never dated a Maria.
Right.
Shout out to Maria.
But what was your worst date ever? It doesn't have to be a Valentine's Day, but what was your worst date ever?
Worst date ever. This is a funny one, actually.
What's that?
So this was, I don't know how many years ago. I want to say 4 to 5 years ago, something like that. Disclaimer. At this moment, I did not know like how to be intentional, right? As a man, I feel like when you date or, you know, if you're going to be romantic, you have to be very intentional. That means like itinerary-wise, you have to call and make reservations. You have to go get flowers. You have to get them wrapped. You have to have custom flowers. You have to have the flowers there when you go pick up your date.
Oh, you're so sweet, Breeze. I like that. Now you know.
Now I'm promoting. Say, hold on, my number.
Yeah.
But you know, and things of that matter, like obviously chivalry, everything else that comes with it, pick up the tab, all that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do this so much 4 to 5 years ago, right? So in this one date, I hadn't seen this girl in some time. I hadn't seen her for about 2 to 3 years. And, you know, we always had a pretty good relationship, pretty good friendship. And then we decided to go on a date one day. I hadn't remembered, like, the kind of girl she is, which is an amazing girl. But I didn't remember the kind of girl she was. I was over here on some hot shit. I was over here like, you're outside of my house? Tell me why I pulled up in my car. I was hitting like 90 down the residential. I was like, yeah. She waiting outside my house, like, yeah. I pulled up scared. And I'm like, get in shit. I was like, oh, this is terrible, right? So she's like,
I would have been like, I'm not getting in this car. You're driving so fast.
She was like, what are we doing? Like, what do you want to do? I was like, this is terrible, right? I had no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did know that I had some stuff rolled up, right?
Yeah.
Some stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I smoked a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Before I pulled up to this day and during with her. So I was like, do you smoke? She was like, yeah, woo. She smoked, I smoked. We got so extremely high. Yeah. Like, I didn't even know like my left turn signal from my right one.
Oh my God,
I was
Breezy.
like, so we were like, we don't know what we were gonna. She's like, what are we gonna? I was like, man, let's go to Casablanca in Brookfield. We go to Casablanca in Brookfield. Like, we get out, the door's closed. I'm not doing research. I didn't know if it was open. I didn't know if it was closed. Whole time we're standing outside of here trying to open this door, and we're just so high looking at each other, like, what's going on? Like, yeah, I'm telling you, worst day ever. Like, we have fun. We look back at it now and we laugh at it because it was so bad. But like, we were so like got violently high and did not plan the date out. Right. Did not know anything was going on.
It's just a lot of missions. Like, it's just like the mission to pick her up, terrible. The mission to get to food, terrible.
No flowers, no reservations. No insight into the future whatsoever. I just pulled up with the clothes on my back.
Bruh didn't even put no effort into the fit.
I'm like, you know what I mean? So, but we look back at it now, and it's funny because we look back. She was like, that was such a like terrible date. Like, obviously, I'm way better now. Yeah. But that taught me a lot. I look back, I'm never doing that. I was so unprepared for that. And then after that day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be intentional at this, like, romanticism type of thing. I was like, because I can't ever go for that. Again, the spot was closed. I could have at least searched the hours.
Right. You could at least, like, put in that effort. I still would have been pissed. Like, I hate that. Like, that's just a waste of my time. Yeah. And I've learned, I've grown up, right? There is times where I've accepted less on a day because I just wasn't.
I want to hear yours. I want to hear what's your worst day. It's only fair. I told you mine.
I've told this story enough, but I will. It surely wasn't that. It surely wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was worse.
Was it worse than mine?
Worse. Yes.
Oh.
I wanted to kill myself.
Okay.
I wanted to kill myself.
Did your date fart or something like that?
Worse than that. I swear.
How can you get worse than passing gas in the cut?
I wanted to kill myself. I remember being like, kill me now. Like, open up the ground, swallow me up. Like, I'm done. Oh. Like, I hated it. So I was younger, whatever.
Okay.
And I thought certain dates were okay back then because of where I was in my tax bracket, where I understood like people were my age
and lack
range.
Of experience, obviously, you starting to date.
Yeah. So you remember when Fridays was open in the ballpark, which was actually a pretty venue, right? Because they have the lights and stuff on. Shut up, man. And to me, if I could get me a 3 for 13, multiple, like whatever for cheap.
Went to Applebee's and got
right. I was good with that at that time.
For sure,
I was like 18. I was young. I remember.
That's acceptable.
I met this guy after DJing, walking on water. He was in Qdoba. I saw him through the window. I was kind of drunk, unfortunately, at a young age, whatever. And underage drinking I do not accept, and maybe
Nobody
I was
knew.
or wasn't doing it.
Her own accord.
Right. I was turned. I was a little hazy, right? Didn't really look at them all like that. Knocked on the window. I was like, you cute, blah, blah, blah. I was so bold back then. I'm never that bold now. And I got his number. He asked me we talked for a little bit. He asked me on a date. Cool, fine, right? So I'm like, he like picked a place. And I really never been in there. And everybody told me like the ballpark thing is like really cute and you can get a table, blah, blah, blah. Great. So he does that. He makes the reservations, all that stuff. Now, one of the things that I did know from my mama.
You made reservations.
Right. And who knew that you needed reservations for that? But it used to be packed out in there.
He made them though, at least.
So we get there. It was fine. It was no. I pulled up in my own car. Let me take a step back. Pulled up in my own car because that was one thing my mom taught me. Like drive to at least the first date, right? Child, get there. See him. Whatever. He got his hands in his pocket. But it was kind of cold.
This in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Red flag.
It was kind of cold, though.
Take your hands out your pocket. Red flag.
But we was walking outside at that time. And then even when we got in, he had never took his hands out of his pocket. Shut up, man.
I don't know what neighborhood this guy's from.
So he put his hands in his pocket. I'm like, okay. And yes, I'm from the north side. So I'm like, at some point, you got to take your hands out your pocket, right? So we sit down. We talking and stuff, and he laughing, he moving, but he didn't take his hands out of his pocket. Right? So, cool. So at some point, shut up, man. Oh my God.
Pleasure to meet you. Gave you elbows.
No, he gave me a hug, but it was so quick, and he put his hand, like, it was just all funny. He said, you hugged me,
I can't really.
we sit down, and then I take off my jacket, and I finally say something. I was like, take off your jacket. Like, why you, da-da-da. And he like, oh, you nervous, blah, blah, blah. He was joking back and forth. He took off his jacket. Everything was fine. He put his hands on the table.
Stop. Before you even said it, I knew where this was going.
He had the roly-poly nails. The big.
He had that's like a...
Yeah,
like a heart condition.
The fact that we laughing right
now. Oh my
now.
God, no. I'm not laughing at the heart condition. But like I'm laughing at the fact is like did you pull out like booty fingers and like you should have just like led with that. Like
it wasn't even just booty fingers. It was the big what's those things called? Club fingers.
Oh yeah. Oh, so maybe it wasn't a hard thing.
The nail was like a circle.
No, it was
it's like it's a circle for real.
Lord.
And I was like, oh, okay. That's why he was doing
what you
that.
were hiding. I thought you had a Glock in there.
But it get worse.
Oh, it gets worse?
Because I'm like, okay, that freaked me out. But okay, maybe I can get over it. I'm going to finish out the date. It's nothing wrong. Okay, don't be stuck up, Bree.
Out of pocket.
Relax. So now we talking. I didn't make it too obvious that was like a thing for me. So we're talking. He like, yeah, and I sing. Keep in mind, I work at the radio station. So I had dealt with people wanting to talk to me just to get their song on the radio, right? So I'm like, oh, man, this dude about to ask me to put his mixtape on. And he did. But he's like, he telling me I sing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, really? One day I'm going to have to hear you sing. He started singing right there. And in that conversation, he told me that people tell me he sound like Jacquees. I said, Jacquees.
Jacquees don't even sound, I'm not even going to say.
It was it was horrendous.
He started singing? Like,
he started.
Like a cappella?
Yeah. At the table, started singing.
And
I'm like, okay.
To me. That's so cringe.
So he's singing me one of his songs.
No way. That's so cringe to me.
It was so bad. I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to end it. Now you understand?
So, like, non-biased. Like, was it good?
No.
Oh, Lord. 1 to 10.
Horrible.
10 being the worst.
10 being the worst?
Yeah.
20. 10,000. 5 billion%. Wouldn't have played it on the radio. And I ran heat from the street for a while. Wouldn't have did it.
That was not heat for the street.
No, not quality.
That was...
And I had high
heat
standards.
To keep off the streets.
Yes. No heat, no street. It was more like cold, icy roads. Like, it was not there.
See...
So...
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
He's singing
how'd
to
you
me,
deal
right?
with that? Serenading you?
And you remember Julia? I
Yeah.
never make a fool of you. It was like that.
No way. In the
It was
ballpark?
bad. Super in the
How many
ballpark.
people were there?
It was packed. So like the people across kind of looked
You're
at me.
strong.
Yeah, and I just kind of put my head down and was like, okay, alrighty. And then I'm thinking it's gonna stop. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm like, I'm bad at that. Like I'm not gonna say it in the moment. I'm bad at that. The waitress comes over. She's a black girl.
I said, boy, you need to shut up.
No. She didn't hear none of that yet.
Oh.
He sings our order to her.
He said, let me get a 2P.
You got it, Breezy. You know it. He did it. He did that. I was like,
No
he sang my
way.
order. I tried to say my order.
No way.
He asked me previously what I wanted, and he did that to do that.
No way.
He sang our whole order, and she looked at me so cold. She looked at me like, she was like this. She did not look at him. She looked at me. She said,
You need to get the fuck up out of here.
The judgment killed me. I said, kill me now. Kill me now. This is so embarrassing. So then I'm like, he wouldn't
ET
stop.
And shit.
And singing.
He like, I just think
Gonna
you might
wanna
be the one. Don't point at me with them fingers.
Right. He like, oh, and he's singing. And he's singing with he's singing. I was like, all right. I knew I was done. So then it just kept getting perpetually worse because he wouldn't stop the singing.
I don't think it can get like worse than like a cappella singing. See, like,
Yeah.
and you know what? And this is a side note that I gotta say before you continue the story.
Yeah.
As a DJ,
People would do that to you.
my most annoying thing in the planet is when people go on the spot
Yeah.
and start like rapping, singing, doing anything like that they do.
Yeah.
And and it's not because I don't believe in you. It's not because I don't think that you're good. It's not
Right.
because like I'm too good to hear it. None of that, right? But there's a
Right.
time and place for
everything.
And on top of that, now I gotta sit here and I gotta act like I like it. You know what I
You
mean?
gave me no choice because
You
if
gave
I
me no
say if I
choice.
say it's whack, I'm the asshole. I'm literally the asshole.
And like you give like
And
a
you might
general-
start crying or something. You might start
Right.
doing something that's just like wild or start wanting to fight or
You
something.
put me between like a rock and a hard place because like if it's trash, what do I
What
say
do you
now?
say?
You always get one of these when it's trash. You be like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I see you.
Woo, that was some hot
I'm like, all
bars.
right. I'm like, you got an IG? Follow me on IG.
Right. Yeah.
I might give up my secret. I
Right.
shouldn't have said that.
But
you know,
hey.
you know it. Like it's
Gotta
terrible.
do it.
Anyway, continue. That's terrible.
that was it, pretty much. And then he
Lord.
kept singing. And at some point, once I was really done with my meal, I like said, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I went to the front counter, paid for my meal, and left.
Oh, what is it?
That was done.
You ever see
He
that
hit me
gif?
with the fire
The
after that.
Viola Davis gift where she pick up her purse and she be
Got
like,
to go. That was me. I picked up my purse. He was like, oh, you can leave it. I'll watch your purse, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, it's the first day. I'll take my purse with me. He was really, I think he knew what I was about to do. I got out of there. I left. He hit me with the fire afterwards. I had to block him. He was like, bitch, you da-da-da-da-da.
Never.
You blah-da-da-da-blah-blah-blah.
how are you
And I was
talentless and disrespectful?
when I got home, I said, next time, don't sing on a date. And then I blocked him after that. No reply.
Damn.
Don't reply
You're
to me.
a way better person than me because like you didn't even mention the fingers.
I think I really wanted to eat.
I'd be like, what if he would have what
And I had to pay for my own.
what did he order? Like, cause if he ordered wings and he's sitting there,
Yeah, it was hand food. Yeah.
oh stop it.
No pasta, no nothing. It was hand food. I was like,
Stop. Stop. That's what
I was hurt.
That
I was like,
crazy to me.
how do you put that big?
He said, your almond fingers. What do you like? What is
I'm gonna put in a picture of what it looked like, but it was the big club fingers that look like a circle.
see
the
like plot
roly-poly
twist
fingers.
though? Plot. Yeah, yours was way worse than mine.
Yeah.
Plot twist. At least he made a reservation. Okay, a plot twist though. What if he like became mad famous and like he had a hit record and he was just that guy?
Hopefully
like,
he
how
wore
would you feel
gloves.
after that? Obviously, you wouldn't even give a fuck probably, but like
I wouldn't have cared.
technically you were his first like audience. Like he
yeah.
sang that to me.
Ooh, my God, and I was no, no, I wouldn't care. I would have been like, hope he wore gloves, just like I said. Hope he wore gloves, because how are you a sex symbol? Because really, when you're a singing guy, that's kind of what it is. You got to kind of like sex it up,
Like-
for the girls,
Like
you know.
Usher sex appeal, wow, like pause, like
Right.
crazy.
I can't
sex
wait for
appeal.
Sunday. You know,
That's gonna be okay. Can we touch on that real quick?
Real quick, yeah.
Finally, we got finally that should have happened.
yeah, years ago.
Man, like
Yeah.
catalog crazy.
I was gonna go home and talk about that, like what songs I'm gonna hear for the Super Bowl. So
People
I'm definitely
were
gonna do
banging
that.
on it, like, oh, I better not hear.
I better hear Daddy's Home. Oh.
I feel like he's just gonna slide through all of them. Like it's so many. I was just listening to Usher last night. I'm like,
super metal.
Damn, he got so many hits.
Super metal.
Like Confessions, like Let It Burn, like You Got It Bad, like
it got to be crazy.
Me, like what, like.
Stop playing with me, dog. He got to say that.
Are you serious?
Dog. Are you serious right now? You got to do that. Well, Breezy, I want to touch quickly on. What next steps do you have? I kind of feel like it may be a little bit into fashion. I've been seeing some of your work with Unfinished Legacy. So kind of to tie it in together, what are some of your next steps? And is it fashion? And how's your relationship been with Unfinished Legacy? And then from there, we'll wrap it up.
Okay, most definitely. Thank you for asking, by the way.
No problem.
It's been great. It's been beautiful. I feel like my next steps just growing out of my comfort zones. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of things that I've had the opportunity to do. Mm-hmm. And just because I've had the opportunity to do them doesn't mean that they're old. But I'm always looking for ways to reinvent and kind of touch new ground or kind of touch the same things but in different ways, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like breaking into other markets right now is definitely the way for me. I feel like Milwaukee has blessed me with so many opportunities and meet such amazing people as yourself. And so many amazing opportunities for me to grow as an artist, which I'm super, super thankful about. Yeah. But the time has come, and it's been here for a little bit, to break into different markets and sort of, to go national and go international and be able to connect with more amazing people and really represent our culture here in the city, our culture as Latinos, as Black people, as just in general having our artistry and having our own sound, our own visuals. And that's why I'm very, very happy about what's going on at Unfinished Legacy, because those guys have it. Yeah. Like, they have it.
Yeah.
Like, and
tap me in. Like, I've been in the store. Yeah. I got 3 Unfinished Legacy shirts. I haven't worn the shirts because I kind of want to, like, make them a little bit, because you support the brand, do the chain, too.
Yep. A little bit.
Let me show the chain. Because he part of the crew.
A little bit.
I have 3 shirts, so when they first opened up and they had the opening and stuff, I went then. I need to get a hoodie, but all the hoodies was like, they went like flying off the shelves.
Oh, yeah. They're crazy.
Just plug me in, give me a hoodie, and let me interview Brumma. That's it.
No, most definitely. Like, and the thing is, like, there's many different things that I could say about Unfinished Legacy. Mm-hmm. And if it's one thing that stands out overall is, like, the nostalgia and just the message.
Yeah.
Like the vision and just kind of touching on things that are so positive and artists that have kind of changed the way we look at things. Like, you look at some of the shirts they've got Nipsey on shirts. Yeah. They got Tupac on shirts. They got
the blue butterfly is the best to me.
Crazy.
Like, because that's the iconic one.
Exactly.
That you would know. Like, the blue butterfly, when you see it, I know it's Unfinished Legacy.
Immediately.
That is when you could have something that's recalled to a brand. That's supreme level of thinking. Exactly. And that's a double entendre, because that's supreme, the brand level of thinking, but that's supreme thinking in what you could do with a brand, and for it to be local. And I even saw Michael B. Jordan wearing his stuff before.
Crazy.
I saw
Bryson Tiller.
Wild. Like, it was another basketball. Dame Lillard, another guy too. It's just that level of Milwaukee being in little places and everywhere. I haven't seen it in fashion done in that space. And like I said, I really want to interview Brumma, hit me.
We're gonna make it happen, because I could be, like, I was just in Florida before that. I was in Houston. Like, people will stop me everywhere.
Where's that shirt?
Where's that hoodie? Yeah, they'll literally be like, "Bro, that is such a nice shirt. It's so beautiful. Where is it from?" Right. And I love that, because I get to open that, like, dialogue and sort of, like, as far as Bremma, DJ, Com, those guys over there. Yeah. Like, I got a chance to attend a private screening for their film that they had a few months ago. And then just seeing the message that they have, like the butterfly and the cocoon, just kind of symboling growth and just rebirth. And it's something that I feel like the positivity that brings to our city and how notable that is, I love it. I haven't seen something that nostalgic and something with that type of vision and that type of message in
so
ever.
long.
Actually, honestly, now that I think about it, like, you see clothing brands that try to
Hustle Depot, or you know what I mean, like
money sign, like, you know what I mean. And it's so many, like, superficial things where it's like, it's cool, like, that is a culture and that is a subculture, and that's different. Different strokes for different folks, obviously, right? But this right here. I feel like can relate to everyone, and everyone in their lives are just sort of trying to, take it day by day, be better than you were before.
Even saying the unfinished legacy and how that feels, like, because
it's an unfinished legacy.
And we talked about it in this interview, but having moments and times where you questioning what you're doing and things of that nature, but you have to always remember it's unfinished as long as you're breathing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Only time it ever stops.
Quote that one right there. That was a quote. Put that on.
Put that on the shirt. Just make me an ambassador. You had a quote.
Put that. But we'll charge y'all for that.
Look. Just give me. Let me be an ambassador. That's
interview.
It. Interview.
No, those guys are amazing. Like you guys are gonna hit it off so great. They're just so. They're great.
Who they are.
That's all I can really say. So I'm excited to, what's coming next, what's coming down the line. Opportunities are starting to arise. I'm getting to meet some amazing people. Touch back into the community with Milwaukee. I know I spoke a lot about going into other markets and sort of doing that, but that doesn't mean that I'm finished here.
Right.
Through Unfinished Legacy and other brands and other amazing people here, I'm definitely making my way back to collaborate with Milwaukee and to create in Milwaukee more. And I got the opportunity to do that with the Milwaukee Night Market.
Yeah.
So that's coming back up this year. That's going to be really amazing.
That was popping. We had a
Michael Jack.
We had a time.
Gap band. Like it was. I was like, I get to play real music, and it was a very community moment. So things like that here in Milwaukee. Just excited to do it, and I'm so thankful that you brought me on here because this is another platform that is turning out beautifully. So I'm very proud.
I knew you were the best, especially with Valentine's Day and stuff coming up because how sweet you are. Look at that. Come on now. I'm coming through with the puns.
Thanks. I'm gonna put my hands in my pocket.
Don't do that. That scared me now.
I'll be like,
and it doesn't scare me with a gun. I'd rather it be a gun because them fingers was crazy.
It was crazy.
I'd rather it be a gun.
He just extended his hand and grabbed your hair
Oh no, it was this other guy. His fingers were so long. He picked up this cup. It was like he wrapped around it like ET.
What is up with you and
I can tell you another thing where this guy, his feet was unproportionate to how tall he was. It's just a thing.
Dude said you had a size 5 and you're 6'3".
The extremimes was crazy. No, he was short with long feet.
With big feet. Oh, that's
like
worse.
Daffy Ducks.
That's worse.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was hurting.
Were your ancestors clowns?
Yes. Seriously.
Wow.
Got out the car. Flat pat. It was crazy. But let them know.
You might want to retire from dates for a little bit until you find some normal feet people out here. I don't know what they
Leave it up to my friends. I always find something. But I don't care. That was crazy. If you saw it how I saw it in my brain, you wouldn't be able to get past it either.
You deserve better than that.
Thank you, Breezy. Appreciate you. Let the people know where they can find you and how they can hit you up for any DJ gigs or just wanting to talk to you and follow you.
So hit my line. I'm just like, no.
Hit me up.
Yeah, that's it. People always do that.
Straight like that.
Just hit me up. No, but on Instagram at DJ Breezy. I was so thankful to get that handle. Boy, I fought for that one. But that's pretty much where I am these days. It's just Instagram. If you want to book me, djbreezyinfo@gmail.com. Open format DJ. I'm open to new opportunities always. Nothing is ever too big or too small for me because you never know what is going to lead you to your path.
Period poo, just not no weddings, baby.
That part. No wedding.
All right. It's been your fly gal, Just Breezy on the next episode. Peace.